Hey guys, Solarkneecaps here with a brand new series of Iron to Masters where I will be climbing up the ELO ladder from a brand new Iron account to Masters. Um, Essentially, it's just going to be a way for y'all to learn how to go from any stage of the game to live, and we're going to be talking about all types of early game, stabilization, what to do, how to essentially do everything. So we'll go ahead and get into the game. So here in terms of what items we want to start with, and at the very beginning, especially when you're honestly just starting out, you don't need to overcomplicate everything. You don't need to be thinking about what comps to force, what comps to use. Do I need X, Y, and Z plug-in? Do I need, what do I need? The general gist is that you should start with, and my recommendation is starting with defensive items. Essentially having a good front line will allow your back line to do damage, and itemizing your back line is all well and good, but if, all four of the guys get to you before they can even do their damage or cast anything, then, you know, there's nothing to it. So, here at the very beginning, obviously, we're on a Smurf, in terms of how serious we want to be and in terms of all the different, min-maxing of like, oh, make sure you play Yordles, make sure you play, Mercs, make sure you play, I wouldn't worry too much about that. Really at the beginning is just kind of understanding the general concepts of get, three good defensive items on your tank, think about front line, make sure you're stable and go from there. And just kind of know what general good units are. Like this Taric, like low-key Taric is kind of broken. And so now we go to the first kind of beginning part of this game where we have to actually pick an augment. So Mutant Crest isn't the worst thing in the world. Obviously, do we have any idea what Mutant is? Mutant is Dark Star, which I'm not a super big fan of. Academy Crest, I don't think is super strong, and it kind of forces us to a comp. Right now, I'm just going to go with Makeshift Armor. I don't think it's the best, but oh wow, and that's a very interesting spot for our Socialite. But it's going to be the best early game, I think. And for me, there's a lot of different ways you can play. You can think about going, being strong, should I lose streak? Should I win streak? A lot of these things isn't super pivotal when especially when you're starting on the game. Like, I got like Nikos here, I got like GA, I have all these plenty of good items. I know I talked about making sure that you can have some sort of, let me just go ahead and some sort of early game, trying to make sure that you itemize your front line. But since I have this makeshift armor, that's not super necessary for me. So instead, I'm not going to be forcing assassins, so I don't exactly want IE. Instead, I'm just going to opt for, GA sparring gloves. I'm just put GA is a generally good item. It's good on AP Flex. It's good on AD. So I'm just putting it on my strongest unit. I'm putting it on the Socialite Hex, and I'm using as much makeshift armor value as I can by concentrating all my items onto one person. So again here, we took Sunfire Cape. We can go ahead and use this time to scout just to see what our opponent's augments are. So trade sectors, fine, nothing really to see around there. Maybe we'll wait just while everyone's kind of hard resetting here. We'll just hold on a second. Just buying Ziggs just because there's a possibility for us to play some Yordles, which we can here. Well, first, we don't really want to play 6 Yordles, but Yordles is generally a very good way of kind of econing, but it would require me to get a little bit weak, but not too weak, so I'll go ahead and I'll opt to play it. So we'll do here, again, we're just going to put all of our items on one guy. Going to buy out the shop just to buy it out, and we got 3 Yordles, so we're going to be econing. We're getting maximum makeshift armor value, which again isn't the best augment, but we're definitely doing something with it. This guy obviously has a really strong board, so my general recommendation when starting out is just play your strongest board. I'm gonna be reiterating these points I think very frequently. Is try to itemize your front line, try to play strongest board, and just don't try to overthink it too much. Just play your best board, play what you got, and go from there. All right, so we got a Ziggs 2. I'm not really, so I mean, obviously, I think this guy is really strong. I mean, Graves 2, and so here's a small tip. If you get Toma Traits and you just pop it with less than 5 units on board, you're just going to get a random trait. So this guy actually got really, really lucky that he just happened to get Brawler. Now, it's interesting that he decided to make himself notably weaker just to play Mercenaries. So he probably knows that it's like, oh yeah, I want to play like Lose Streak Mercenaries, I want to eco up. But at this point, if you're, already 2 wins, you either want to win streak or lose streak. The last thing you want to do is to kind of do a win-loss, win-loss. I mean, and it really just kind of depends on these first 2 rounds, or the first 3 rounds rather, if which direction you want to go. So like with me, obviously like I won one, lost one. My board is pretty strong just because again, I have, makeshift armor making my front line pretty good. Just going to pre-level here. And it's tough for me to say. We'll see. I'm going to try to win these next 3 is pretty much what I'm going at. So a big decision that you have at 2-3 is whether or not to pre-level or to just level up. Let me just go ahead and look at the items here. I don't have anything super great, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to take this rod and that'll be pretty good on Ziggs, but I'm probably just going to keep it for scrap value. Just play Echo straight up. So you have 2 really big decisions when you're on 2-3 is whether or not you want to pre-level or if you want to make 10. The general consensus is that, oh, okay, I don't even need to buy it. Let me go. So we have a Shaco here, which is pretty strong, but instead I'm just going to bank on the fact that I'm going to win and we can try to pre-level. Again, like I said, you don't need to worry too much. Like, I haven't done anything complicated here. I saw Yordles, I picked Yordles. Out of the augments that I had, I really was kind of forced to take a generic one, just playing good units. I got my carry on the augment spot, I got my tanks in the front line. We're just going to go from here. And wow, that's actually an incredibly good roll to get Morello on Echo. It's essentially best in slot. So that's some good scrap value we got from there. Pretty happy about that pickup then. So as long as we get through this Zig, or get through this Singe, get a nice heal off. Good Poppy shield. Oh, Tarek almost got a cast off there. But it looks like this will be a nice, easy win with a trade sector. And surprisingly enough, yeah, so the guy that, we'll have to see how this Merc guy does. I'm very curious to see if his decision to essentially pivot from lose streak to win streak pays off. I'd be a bit hesitant to agree with that. So, here it's pretty simple. There's no way for me to make 20, so pretty much just buy everything. Don't need to worry about should I get Daria, should I get TF, what should I do? Just can't make 20. Just grab the units, good to go. In terms of scouting, obviously we haven't faced this guy yet, so we're just gonna tuck this boy right here just in case, just so he absorb the Katarina. But no, we're actually playing another Merc guy. And he is definitely lose streaking. He's got 3 losses already, but he's fairly healthy. He's at 82, so we're hoping to essentially obliterate him. So this is looking like a 5-unit loss, so that is good news for us, and we can buy the Darius anyway. Just keep in mind, so when you're at Krugs, in terms of like early game scouting, I think that's a hard skill to kind of get used to, of even just like thinking about who you're going to fight. Once you get higher up in the ranks, you'll kind of just know who you have and haven't fought just by even recognizing the little legends. But going from here, we can just kind of go left to right. So it's like, okay, we fought this guy already. This dude is down here on a lose streak. We fought a middle of the road guy. We fought this person. We just fought the last. So the last 2 people we haven't fought is Mad Dip here with the Duck, who's honestly pretty weak, and this guy who is actually very strong. So it'll be quite interesting to see how this goes, but not looking to make Poppy 3. Selling units, not really interested in this. Just kind of keeping decent units here. Again, we're not really sure. We have GA, we got Fizz. We have a lot of different options. So let's see what we get here. Okay, we got another Rod. It's definitely looking like we're playing some sort of AP comp. And we have Ionic Spark. So that does give us the opportunity to make Quicksilver, but again, if we want to play Jin, we have these two needlessly large rods, and frankly, that's just a little bit suspicious in terms of, what to actually, what sort of composition. So right here, we have a couple of options. I'm going to try to keep my win streak. So I'm going to lose a little bit of econ. And we're going to go ahead, and if I'm going to be playing AP, we could just do this for now. And again, we don't really want to lose too much. We're right now, makeshift armor is actually pretty high value and doesn't really play well with scrap. But we're just kind of playing, again, we're just playing our strongest board. We put Blitzcrank in for bodyguard and to be another unit. And we had a big 50-50 between fighting Mr. 100 versus, Duck. And you're not even guaranteed between those two, but that's just your best odds. Okay, got some good pairs here. There is the temptation to roll, though I think even 3-star, 3-star, it'd be 5 Chemtech at this rate with Katarina there is going to be a bit of a tough ask. So I think we're just going to keep our guy in the corner. If they jump here, there's a good opportunity. She's actually going to walk over here to the left. So I'm going to put this guy. I'm going to put Tarek here to try to divert. But okay, again, we're just playing another person. So this goes. Another good item on Echo. It's at least going to lower their MR here a little bit. Got ulti in. Killed the mouse, so it should be pretty easy cleanup from here. Again, just not doing anything complicated. I'm even holding a whole bunch of units. I could probably sell this. I could probably sell this. Make 20, easy peasy. Again, nothing complicated. So let's see. So we have Socialite Heart. So Scrap Heart, again, doesn't really play nice with our makeshift armor, which is going to fall off a little bit. But Socialite Heart is fairly strong. This gives us the opportunity to play 3 Socialite. Fairly easy, so this gives us good opportunity for something late game. This spot is considered to be almost like second best compared to here just because of Blitzcrank, but I feel pretty confident we can just go ahead and pick Socialite Heart. Socialite 2 did get touched a little bit, it got nerfed, but I think at the end of the day it's still probably our stronger option. So again, we have Cat here, Warwick, we're just kind of scouting. There was only one Blitzcrank player, but he's not really, at this level again, like, you just want to be, I just have fairly strong board. The only sort of, like, advanced idea, I mean, you see this Katarina. So I'll just do something like this, just to try to maybe sell on the Katarina, but no, we're playing this guy who cashed out on his mercs fairly recently, but it looks like he is a bit dizzy, and so far that he doesn't really know what he is going to play just yet. So he does have a Yone with Thieves' Gloves, which is definitely an option. I see the idea. If he's not going to be committing to Yone, something like this isn't the worst idea, but just general game knowledge of, like, you don't really want carry units to hold Thieves' Gloves. It's typically just best for tanks or just your sort of like tertiary or secondary tanks, or even support characters like, say, Janna or Blitzcrank to be holding on to those, just because, like, at the end of the day you just want them to have items over a particular one. So here, we would like to have gotten Morello, but obviously we didn't. But Tyr would definitely be super strong, and there is several of them, so we'll just go ahead and grab the Tyr, and we're just going to go ahead and put that on Echo. What we also have the option of putting it on Ziggs, which I think is what I'll do. So, well, that's fine. We don't lose any econ for that, since they've actually been making this Chalice of Power be fairly strong. So we'll lose a little bit of value, but they have been buffing this recently. It's more like been buffed. Other items have been nerfed. So right now the power level is considered to be fairly strong. Again, we have this cat here, so we're just gonna kind of maybe even plop another unit just here, just to kind of protect our Ziggs. And we finally are fighting this guy. He is definitely the strongest player here, so it's okay if we lose. It's a shame that we'll possibly lose our streak, but at the end of the day, if we do lose, we just hope that we lose by a fairly small margin. But Ziggs is out here doing work. There is still Lysandra and... Oh, we get a good cast there. Oh, yeah. Look at that. So protecting our units really paid off. And I'm not planning on playing Echo late game. It's definitely the least important unit here since I'll be... Ooh, more scrap units. That's always fun. So since this is more of a front line, and now that we've faced the one assassin, we can go ahead and front line all of our guys here. Since it's more of a front line, and that's what I'm looking for. So now here, I'm gonna go ahead and go. I'm gonna try to keep my win streak. So I'm just gonna go 7, play the Janna, and it gives me scrap, it gets me a chanter. Obviously the scrap shield isn't going to be insane since I only have one unit that is kind of getting the extra item, but that scrap shield definitely goes a long way. And ironically, even though scrap the benefit doesn't play well with makeshift armor, the shield definitely adds up since I'm essentially getting a big shield with extra armor, and it's just making my itemless front line really, really strong. It is kind of ironic that I kept reiterating that you want to itemize your front line in order to have a really strong front line, so your back line is safe. But in this case, since we have makeshift armor, we can kind of get away with not sort of breaking the rules. Again, a really fun thing about the augments. All right, again, nothing really to say here. We're just casually win streaking. Again, you can. Oh, there we go. We just got a free Vex. Oh, there we go. And so we are looking for, so in terms of items right now, it is a bit awkward in terms of how we want to play with our makeshift armor. We are kind of getting to that point where it is sort of falling off. We're really going to be wanting to sort of look for our comp by then. For right now, we're not really interested in too much, so I'm going to go ahead and slam a Shroud, and we're going to try to Shroud cheese someone here. Let's put on the Janna. And even if Janna loses the value, it's still extra shield for the scrap, and, it's okay if Janna isn't, Oh, well, they clearly weren't having a good day since they left. I'm not sure about that one. It looks like there's a couple of people here that aren't doing so well. So this was our the guy that pivoted to lose streak Mercs, and they're still currently in Mercs. They have so many items on bench. Look at what we got here. We have one Decos, and that's all we got. We just kind of have some I can just clear bench, clear mind. We're in terms of when we're thinking about like utilizing everything you have. There's plenty of people with huge benches, and they're filling up their item bench with a million and one things, and they're not even. Oh man, what a brutal shroud this is going to be. But they're again, even this guy, it's like having to, he's obviously wanting to play some sort of Arcanist, but you really have to think that if you're getting all of these swords, what you need to do with them, like put it on, put a sword on the Darius, or make, you have to do something with your items at the end of the day. Here it's 4-2. You can be greedy in stage 1, maybe even stage 3, but look, this guy's just got, he's got nothing. He's got nothing. So again, we're just going to be continuing leveling up. In terms of like who I want to buy here, I just see a scrap. It might be handy to replace Ziggs eventually, so maybe I want to have like some sort of scrap bruiser. Obviously Zac is an amazing unit. Malzahar is still fairly good in terms of some sort of Arcanist carry, but again, we're just enjoying a little bit of Yordle value. We've been doing that since stage 2. We've just been getting free gold left and right, and yeah, so far so good. All right, so we do see the first Kaisa at level 7. So this is definitely going to be a problem later in the game. They did nerf her, however, it is still a 5 cost this early in the game with some really strong items of being that Chemtech spat and already playing challengers. So it is definitely going to be a force, and I wouldn't be surprised if this next cast, yep, pretty much deletes my whole team. So, you know, these things are going to happen during your games where, I mean, that's just, I mean, it is some wild stuff, to say the least. That's all we can say is some wild stuff. In terms of what we were hoping to play is also kind of Kaisa. That's the sort of items our items were sort of indicating, but we can still play Seraphine, we can play Victor, Kaisa. We have a couple of options here. So in terms of what item we want here, you know, Giant's Belt is probably our best bet. Let's see if we can get it. There we go. And that's going to give us Morello's. So we are going to lose a little bit of scrap value technically, but to be honest, it's kind of random Katarina that we can actually play. Why not? Just to have another unit on board. We are going to lose a little scrap value, but Morello's is already kind of the best in slot item on Echo, so there's no real, you know, punishment. Wow, we also already have a Tom Kench. That is going to be a scary unit. So I'm happy with our Shroud. Typically, you would want to move your Shroud around just so when people are scouting, you know, they won't, you know, they won't just kind of move out of the way, and you want to make it so that, you know, while they're scouting, they don't predict where your Shroud's going to be, so you can get a big Shroud on the enemy team. So we'll see how this goes here. I mean, they got a Mundo 2. They have a Jin that's looking really strong. That Shroud definitely came in handy here. Looks like we're going to be able to take everyone out. And, I mean, he's definitely in trouble. I mean, it's you know, you don't want to have that much amount of econ at level 7 and not winning. So, all right. So we have a couple of options. So we have Ardent Sensor if we want to, you know, play a lot of enchanters. I'm not super enticed by that. To me, Bodyguard Heart is definitely a really strong option. And wow, look at that. Sometimes you can be just as lucky as everybody else. So we're going to go ahead, start slowly getting away from, oh, let me go ahead and pick up this. So we're going to be getting away from this, getting away from that. And go ahead and put some pretty good items on this Kaisa. Items here on Seraphine. And we're looking for a bodyguard, and there you go. So now we have a really strong front line, 4 bodyguard, 3 socialite. And at this rate, you know, we're you know, let's go ahead and scout, see if we want to move our Shroud anywhere. Looks like this location for the Shroud is going to be fine. That is a Malzahar 3, by the way. That is definitely a strong unit, but we're going to be selling all this. You know, we have a couple of units that we're definitely willing to get rid of at some point. You know, we have this sort of Vex that's hanging out. You know, this Janna is actually doing pretty strong, but all of our front line is kind of slowly dying here. You know, this is definitely a stronger board, but you know, you also have to consider is like, okay, well, look at and compare the econ. So, you know, he's essentially rolled down all of his gold, and you know, he's still just lost. So while we're going to be sitting pretty, whoop, try not to lose econ for no reason. You know, this is definitely the guy we're going to be keeping an eye on. It's actually sort of fascinating that he also has 2 Kaisas already at 7. That is a 1% chance of hitting one of them. But we have a Nikos, so I feel pretty strongly about being able to go to 9. And it is you know, Nikos is a fantastic item. It allows you to, you know, Shadow Clone Jutsu, whatever unit you want, and is super beneficial when you have a comp that really relies on a 5-star, since that gives you the opportunity of just hitting the 5-star and then going on with your life. So very interesting items. Definitely this Challenger Spat is looking right up my alley. Reason being is that it allows my Kaisa to get Challenger, so I think that's pretty obvious. We'll go ahead and put that on Seraphine to give some attack speed, so they'll actually cast a little bit quicker. And, you know, we're not going to be getting any more items. So here we're going to do a couple of things. So we're going to get scrap value. We're just going to go ahead, you know, neither of these are super great, but we're just going to opt for Giant's Belt. And we're just going to kind of sit on this Chain Vest. We'll go ahead and grab this Oriana. Accidentally leveled up one too many times, but, you know, these mistakes happen. No reason to get tilted over it. We're sitting pretty good, so our game plan is pretty simple. We're going to go ahead and go 9, you know, try to 2-star everything, and we should definitely be able to top four this game, if not win. There's definitely some stiff competition out there, but this board is looking very, very strong. And, there's chance that we might be able to pivot into a little bit of mutants, maybe a little bit of something else. Because, again, we have this Vex that we can replace, maybe with that with a Mundo, maybe at a Gassadin. It might be a little tricky to fit it in, but if not, we always have Oriana. This is a fairly decent unit, but of course is just another enchanter. Add a little bit of magic damage since, oh wow, this guy has Kaisa 2 already. I mean, he is, wow, rolling down like a madman. So we'll see how this turns out. One also notable thing is that the mutant this game is Darkstar. So the fact that he has those extra dummies is going to be very beneficial for him. But wow, we actually grabbed, I wasn't even paying attention. Blitzcrank coming in handy, grabbing the 3-star Malzahar. And I mean, he's definitely, even though he got grabbed, he did a lot of damage. The fact that he was stunned for that long period of a time means that he is not long for this world. So yeah, he even has the on guard, so he's looking to be disarming people. He is mad rolling here in order to get as much as he can. So, he's definitely rolling at 8. He's at 0 gold. He definitely, in terms of what his board is capable of, it should not be able to be more capped than ours. And at this rate, again, we're just kind of just playing with what we got. Eventually, I'll probably put this chain vest on someone, but it's just a little bit awkward since obviously we're trying to keep a little bit of our what is this called? Makeshift armor. I don't typically take this augment very frequently, so. Ooh, good grab on the MF. Okay, got a little lucky that the Kaisa was able to cast before the disarm. And again, these aren't even technically the most optimal items on Kaisa. Really at the end of the day, Guardian Angel plus 3 or 2 other AP items is what you're going to be looking for. Morelos is obviously very strong, but you just want to make sure that you're just putting items that make sense. That's all you really should be looking for, is items that make sense. So here, we're looking for maybe some more tank, maybe some AP damage, maybe some more tankiness. So there's some debate on exactly what we can take. I'm going to go ahead and take this. It's going to give our Seraphine a little more survivability, cast a little bit quicker. She's not our primary damage, so I'm not really worried about her, killing everyone. I'm just going to go ahead and play this. So I'm just going to go ahead and start rolling down. We definitely want to find our Kaisa before he finds too many. And, we're not going to worry too much about, making sure all of the 100% correct units are on board. We're just kind of, okay, so we didn't find everything, but that's all right. Ooh, so this guy is punishing the fact that I haven't been scouting, and I still hit 2, but obviously, but he did not scout my other Blitzcrank, which is definitely going to hurt. Oh, his Jhin is life-stealing so much. Oh my gosh. Can you believe it? Ooh, good Oriole. It's going to be a fat cast. There you go. Alright, cat's down. Again, we're just going to be going ahead and try to make... Oh, couldn't do it in time. Try to make 20, but that's okay. So again, we're just going to keep rolling for our carry. We just need to find one of them. Preferably we would have rolled before she had a whole bunch. Again, we kind of don't want this, this Poppy and this Vex as replacements, so let's just keep that in mind as we're going. We can probably go ahead and replace those now, so. Whoops, and that was a misclick, but again, these things happen. And I mean, this guy is sitting on a lot of Kaisas. We do get a nice shroud off, but again, that disarm is going to be a little bit tricksy. I honestly have no clue how this is going to go, since again, this is a Kaisa 1 versus Kaisa 2. But my board overall is definitely a little bit stronger, and yep, there you go. Just You know, he definitely has, you know, synergies of, oh wow, okay, well, yeah, that is a unit, as they say. That is a character. So again, we're just going to kind of scout. Looks like here in the middle is just fine. We're going to go ahead. You know, obviously, again, we still want to hit this 1/5 cost, but we definitely want to keep rolling to find, you know, some, you know, we want to save up econ a little bit. Obviously, the reason I replaced Braum over Poppy is that they're both bodyguards, and Braum is essentially just strictly better. I mean, there's nothing crazy about that. It's just a, you know, a 4 cost versus a 1 cost. And Yumi is just a, you know, obviously a legendary unit, very good, but it is also a scholar, which is going to provide us with a little extra mana. So, you know what? Honestly, here you go, Janna. This is Janna's items. That's just how she's going to be. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to buy every legendary we can find to give us better odds, other than ones that form it to 1 unit. Ooh, we were just a little bit too slow there, but we're going to go ahead and make 10, and we're going to have a Yumi 2 by the time we step back up. Our Kaisa got, what is this called, Enforcered, but we do have this cheeky Seraphy 2, which may not be the strongest unit, but is attacking quite quickly. Going to be doing a lot of healing, a lot of shielding. We have our randomly tanky AD, Janna, again, you know, obviously those aren't the most optimal items for Janna other than maybe the Shroud, but, you know, we're just taking our, you know, we're just putting the good items on there. We're getting as much makeshift value as we can. And unsurprisingly, our last enemy is this other Kaisa player. So we're just going to keep rolling, looking for one more Kaisa. We've essentially have everything else, so we're just waiting. So now, you know, the last thing we want to do is just make sure we're properly scouting. Is that a, oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was a Mundo 2 for a second, and it looks like he's not scouting us, so I'm actually quite happy with our positioning. We're going to get a nice Shroud on his 2 main legendary carries back there, including his Victor, which is definitely a scary, scary unit once it gets to cast, but hopefully we'll prevent that from happening too frequently in this game. Here comes the Victor lasers. You know, we still don't have our primary carry 2-starred, but again, we just have so much resistance, such a thick front line. Let's go ahead and buy Camille, because why not? We have a gold. And again, we're just looking for the, well, that is, sometimes it do be like that, as they say. Sometimes it do be like that, but I have pretty good odds. I'd be very curious to see if this guy scouts. I mean, it worked out pretty well last time, so we're not going to change essentially anything. If anything, I might just move this guy here just to kind of pull a slightly different unit. And I just saw him move there last second, so I just kind of flicked it over there to the left. Indeed, we went ahead and we didn't shroud this Victor, which is a bit unfortunate, but we did shroud some other pretty important units. Ooh, we got a really good Yumi out there. Oh, this one is looking a lot closer than last time, guys. Oh, no. Ooh, never mind. We got it. So there you go. It's a first. Now, I know it's going to be one of those things where obviously, you know, a master level player is playing their promos. You know, they're probably the people here are not going to be, you know, super optimal in terms of being able to greed out the early game or late game. But these are all the sorts of principles that slowly and surely y'all will be able to apply to all your games. So, you know, Iron 2, Bingo Bingo Bongo. And I mean, if you're looking at some of these comps, you know, some of these are obviously, you know, there's some right ideas here in terms of playing Arcanist with a 3-star Malzahar and playing Mercs and having, a, you know, all these legendaries and, you know, just our opponent that we were facing that was, you know, going into Challenger. Again, just really getting in the fundamentals, starting to get your top 4s, you know, starting to climb ELO. I mean, that's at the end of the day is the big thing. So thank you again, guys, for watching. Go ahead and follow me on Twitch, where we'll be streaming 3 times a week, maybe even 4. It'll be chess, TFT, and you can watch me climb Masters live, be jamming out, playing a bunch of music, enjoying ourselves. So thank you all for watching. Hope to see y'all next time.